You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Stand up, sit down, featuring in-depth discussion and interviews with stand-up comedians on the art of stand-up comedy. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, stand up, sit down.
What's going on, everybody? It's your host of BHL Stand Up and Sit Down, Mr. Ashford Thomas, and today I'm here with the one and only Mr. Brandon Broady, the host of BET's The Xperiment. Say what's up to the people, man.
What's up to the people? How y'all doing? Represent Ashford. Shout out for coming out here, making your way all the way out from Encino to my humble abode.
You know what it is, man. It's beautiful out here, but the abode is very beautiful.
Welcome to the pool. Welcome to we need to clean that motherfucker out, but
Definitely,
our
man.
pool guy comes tomorrow. So,
First and foremost, tell the people where you're from, man.
Born and raised Silver Spring, Maryland. My people moved to Hyattsville, went to school Baltimore, so I kind of represent the whole DMV. My people from DC, Maryland, all different parts. So I just represent that whole cluster out there.
Definitely. A lot of things going on in Baltimore right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's sad that this shit keeps happening, you know? I mean, like, can I curse? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You can say whatever you want to.
It's sad this motherfucking bullshit just keeps on happening, you know? Like, you think that it's done, you think that people keep learning lessons, you think that America is kind of, like, having some kind of sympathy for these brothers that just keep getting in these situations, you know? And it's just very sad, you know, it's just repeating once again. And it's even sadder that, I guess, black people aren't really completely learning the proper way to protest, you know? And now, again, I don't know if the media is kind of giving it a slant. I have seen some, like, Instagram videos of people taking their own personal videos where people are protesting in a peaceful way, in a more productive way. Everyone's seen the Michael Jackson dude dancing in the street protesting, but it's still, like, you know, I don't think that as a unit, as a complete, you know, group, we're protesting in the right form, in the most effective way.
Yeah. I mean, but it's tough anyway, because, you know, we've been doing it for years.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. We've been protesting for years. We always protested, man.
It gets old, but, you know, it's still the right way to do it by all means. Yeah. But definitely, man, we got real serious. We got Denzel serious up in here for a second, man.
That was real. That was really weird, man. It felt like training day up in this bitch for a second, man. Felt like Jake or some shit.
Definitely. Anyway, we go get into comedy, man. Tell the people, man, did you always know you were funny, being up there in the DMV area, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like, you know, I grew up, I was kind of the shorter kid in the crew. You know, my friends were a little bit taller than me, bigger than me, and I was the shorter dude. I've always been the class clown. I've always been kind of the entertainer, and it was kind of like, even in preschool, kindergarten, first grade, throughout my whole school career, I was always the kid getting kicked out of class. You know, I was always good with my grades. My grades were always A's and B's. You know, my grades were on point. My behavior was some trash. I just couldn't. It's like I always had that joke, like they would just be bottling up and I had to get out, you know? And sometimes at the expense of just getting kicked out, getting suspensions, or, you know, just all types of different things would happen. And it sucked because there's never really any teachers along the way that say, you know, they stop you and say, hey, you know, you can be a comedian, you know, you can be a host, you can be an entertainer. They never really stop you that. They're just pushing this English, this math, this science, this social studies, all this stuff that, like, you know, that's cool, it's great to know, it's great knowledge. I mean, I need that to tell jokes now, but they're never looking at it as a career path for, you know, it's not every person is in that line to do that line of work, you know? Right. And so anyway, I always knew I was just like the class clown, and like being smaller than, you know, a lot of my friends. Physically, some of them could have beat my ass, you know? That's cool. So physically, a lot of people could have beat my ass.
So
but
you gotta get cool with them.
Verbally, you know, you got cool with them, but verbally, you know, you just destroy people. Like we call it joning in D.C., you know, Maryland and D.C., we call it joning. And that's roasting, that's bagging. And I was just all my friends, we would just joan on each other. We played basketball for like 3 hours, and then we'd sit down till the streetlights came on and just joan on each other. And my friends are all different backgrounds. I mean, Nigerian, Hawaiian, Irish, Salvadorian, Indian, like just all these different backgrounds. So it's like I knew these actual stereotypes. I didn't just know stereotypes like the ones you see on TV, like, oh, Asians don't know how to drive. Like, that's a generic stereotype. I knew real stereotypes, like what spices your mama cooks within her house, you know? Like,
cutting to the bone right
like
there.
Real stuff, like the brand of shoe your parents wear, you know? Like, those are the real stereotypes that we knew, and we would just throw them out at each other, and we would always update our Jones based on what was hot in pop culture. So little did I know, I was kind of preparing myself for hecklers, you know, for stand up and for all these stuff. And I'm always goofy. My references were just crazy. I can go back and say, I can look at a motherfucker and be like, oh, you look like this cartoon character or something. Shit. Like you kind of like Earth from Captain Planet. You know what I mean?
I do.
You know, like,
That was the black dude, right?
yeah, Earth.
Of course.
Earth. You know what I mean? But you know, you can just look at people. You just know, you can see what they look like, and that was kind of my thing. I was able to just really Jones. So being funny was the thing I was good at. You know, I played basketball, I played sports and all that. You know, I was decent, I was straight, you know. But
he had a crossover.
yeah, a nice little Iverson, a little Jason Williams behind it. Like, I'd had my little moves, but I didn't realize that comedy was the thing that I was the best at, you know. And no one really tells you that along the way. They don't tell you, you know, this is what you could do.
Definitely, man. Yeah. Definitely. What was the first spot you ever went to do stand-up? Was it back East Coast?
Yeah, the first spot I performed was at a place, it's called The Comedy Spot at Boston Commons Mall in Virginia. My friends and I, my homeboy Gozy, my homeboy Alan, my boy Gozy was working an internship, and he found this spot at the place he was doing an internship in the mall that said, amateurs welcome, stand-up comedy. So he found out more of the details. You know, he got us all signed up. They were going to give us 3 minutes apiece to do some material. And from that, we practiced for about 2 weeks. I mean, we had like the date circled on the calendar. We were all excited, getting ready, getting this 3-minute set ready. And
3 weeks for 3 minutes, just to let you know.
3 weeks for 3 minutes, basically. Yeah, it was like it was a minute a week, you know. But I'm saying we were going, like, if you did a Rocky montage, we were doing push-ups, we were getting ready for this set, man. And we invited all our friends, and they came out, and we did our thing. Like, I still have the DVD of the first time I performed stand-up comedy, you know. I still have those tapes. But that wasn't the first time I performed. I hosted my pep rally in high school, and I hosted a heritage show. Okay. So that was my first kind of like getting on stage type of thing.
Giving yourself a platform to be able to be.
But stand up, that was the first time. It was July. Maybe I think it was like June 26, 2000 and I want to say 2006, 2005, 2006.
This brother got the exact time, exact date. Know what his mama was wearing that day.
Yeah. My mom was wearing a blue jumpsuit, denim.
Lakers beat the Supersonics, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it was. But
how'd it go?
It went amazing. You know, we all did well. Everyone laughed. You know, like I look at it now and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. You know, but you could still hear people laughing. And they were giving us props. You know, we're amateurs. It was our first time doing our thing, and we were getting laughs. So. We weren't bombing. You know, some people go on stage and they bomb their first time.
That's all you can ask for. Now, speaking of bombing, what has ever been your worst show, bro?
Man, my worst show. I had a pretty bad show recently, a few weeks ago. I got too drunk and I was drinking. I was at the Comedy Store and I was just too wasted. I always try to tell myself, don't drink like before I perform, or if so, you know, maybe one, at most 2 drinks, you know, because I treat it like I'm going into the office. And if you're going into the office, you shouldn't really be drinking before you are going into the office, you know, unless you're just the CEO of your goddamn company. Do whatever you want. But I'm still, you know, a student to this art. You know, I'm still a student to comedy, so I have to respect it, you know. And I was just like drinking, just waiting to go on stage, and I'm drinking, thinking, oh, I got this. I'll just do some of my old jokes that I know, that I have muscle memory, and I'll be fine. That didn't happen. Even though I was doing my old jokes, I was forgetting like certain tags and punchlines in jokes that I've told numerous times. So it just like, it was kind of embarrassing, and like I was like, oh my God, like I even had to say to the audience, I fucked that joke up. Well, fuck that one up too, you know.
Stay positive.
Yeah, I got laughs from it, but you know, still, it's like for me, it's like it just hurts me, and I know any comedian can attest to that. Say, you know, you feel the same way when you just kind of like. When you feel like you didn't give your best because you were lazy, that's when you really feel like you're not achieving anything, you know? Definitely. And every time you go on stage, you should take advantage of it and treat it like, you know, it's your last time being on stage, or, you know, treat it like it's your first time. I don't know. Treat it like your first time, your last time. I don't know. You know, it's...
Hey, man, just make sure you do your best. You don't know who's in the audience, especially being out here in L.A.
Yeah.
You know, somebody may be able to have that check. Be like, hey, Brandon, got this check for you. And be like, Brandon, I might have to bring that back, brother.
Yeah, they definitely. They at least tore that check up and wiped their ass with it. That's if there's any checks, if there's any $13 checks for me, it was an ass wipe sheet.
Definitely, man, definitely. And talking about, you know, your material and everything, do you feel like going to different rooms, like sometimes you're in the black room, you're in the white room, do you feel like you have to switch it up for people?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to switch. You have to do a kind of a scan of your audience. I mean, any great comedian doesn't have to really switch up too much, you know, because if your joke is just funny, it's going to be universally funny. And that's what I try to strive for. I try to strive for making universally funny jokes. But again, I've done black rooms, white rooms. I've done crowds for older people, for younger people, for church groups. And when you get groups like that, I was just talking to somebody the other day, like, if I'm saying a joke about Twitter and it's for old people, I can't just be like, yo, so I sent a tweet last night and blah, blah, blah. Because some of the old people are like, well, what's a tweet? What's
Hell is a tweet?
Out of the joke. So you got to say, well, I sent a Twitter message last night. And then, so you got to kind of like switch it up. And then even the slang for some black rooms, you have to switch up, because the white rooms may not understand what you're talking about, or the younger kids might think there's certain references that might be over their head, So you got to really think about your audience. Like if I performed at college right now, I can't do too many references prior to 1990 without it being like just too old.
Too old. You can't even say nothing about NBA jams up in here. Like,
really, they're like, what's that? You know what I mean? I got to talk about Angry Birds. We talking about video games. Like, yo, you sitting there playing Angry Birds, and they're like, dude, like that's the crazy thing,
Yeah, the struggle. The struggle continues. Definitely, man, definitely. So, how did you link up with BET originally, man? I know it's something you were back on the East Coast and everything.
Let's see. First, how did I link up with BET originally? I actually used to PA for BET. I was a production assistant. I was working on 106 in Park, doing the pre-show out here in LA for a lot of different shows. This was the Terrence J area. I watched AJ and Free when I was in college. Me and my friends took a road trip, went up to watch 106 in Park. Never thought I would ever be on BET hosting. They could have never told me that. I always had a dream of doing it, but it's crazy that it came to fruition. Anyways, I started doing PA stuff, and then I ended up. I got a job with Fuse News in 2014, and I was supposed to be hosting a show called Fuse News. I had a going away party, going away dinner, all this going away stuff in LA.
You said goodbye to that old girl that played you back in the day?
I said peace, I'm about to be on, all that, you know what I mean?
I'm brand new now.
How
about now?
All that. No, I'm never like that. But you just start, I was really getting excited. I'm always kind of more of a ninja with my moves. I never really tell people, I never really forecast and, tell people because, one, I don't like to jinx myself, and two, you just never know what people's real intentions are, But, I told, when I found out it was really happening, I told people I had a going away party, going away dinner. I moved to D.C. 3 days later, they said that Jennifer Lopez had bought out Fuse Network.
What?
So what that did, it put my contract on hold, and and I ended up I was waiting around for 3 weeks to find out when I was going to start, 3 weeks later, they ended up getting rid of the show altogether, Fuse News. So I moved out of LA, sublet my room, got all this stuff, moved all my shit to DC to move to New York, So now I'm just in DC. I'm at my parents' house, just kind of depressed, fucked up, because I'm looking at Instagram, looking at all my
watching Maury Povich all day.
Yeah, watching, Cialis commercials and shit like that, just trying to, Price is Right, all that, And I'm just frustrated because I feel like I'm itching. When you're in DC, it's just a different speed, than LA. Being out here, it's fucking Wednesday right now in the afternoon, and we're doing an interview,
That's the pool, baby.
This doesn't happen in DC.
Scenery.
This doesn't happen in DC. It's okay, this Saturday, can we schedule this? This impromptu creative stuff doesn't happen out there. It's just not industry. It's not an industry city. Yep. So I'm sitting there just waiting around, just kind of frustrated. I'm doing stand up every night. I'm kind of doing stuff on my old radio station, but I'm really eager to get back to LA. I'm really frustrated. So I ended up just getting up with my homeboy, and we finished the script. We started writing a feature. We go in 12 hours a day just writing this feature. As soon as we finished the feature, I got a call from the same casting director that got me for Fuse, saying that BET was looking for hosts for different shows. So there's about 3 different shows. So I just kept taking the train from DC up to New York, like almost weekly. I was for different things because they were like, oh, we want to bring you back again. I'm paying out my pocket to pay these trains, but it's it's all worth it for me. I'm like, no, I know, on the train I'd look over the scripts, on my phone. I just practice and rehearse for these auditions and different ones. And then one of the ones that I ended up landing was for 106 in Park. They said, we want to try you as a correspondent. We really like you as a correspondent. We want to try you as that. So sure enough, in June or May or June, actually it was June 2014, I rode up to New York and I did a thing for the Purge Anarchy. It was an activation event, and I was kind of a correspondent. I spoke to some of the stars of the movie, and I just did my correspondent thing. And then from that, I had a really great rapport with the producers and everyone that was on site for that day. They said, hey, we think we want to try you if Bow Wow's out of town. We want to try you to maybe, you know, fill in for him. And I'm like, oh, in the Real studio? Like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. Just let me know, you know, fine.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll show up. You know what I mean? I ended up getting a call from the DC BT office saying that they wanted me to host this show that was going to be in LA. It was called the Top 10 Moments in the BT Experience. So they're saying, hey, we'll fly you out to LA, you know, get you a round trip. I was like, oh, don't give me a round trip. Just give me a one-way ticket. Yeah. So now I'm flying back to LA. This is 3 months later. Flying back to LA. I told the homeboy that I was subletting my room that I was moving back in, so I got my room back. Did this show for
You said, get your ass out.
Basically, yeah. I said, get the fuck out, nigga. Your time's up, my nigga. Give me that $35.
Yeah. Give me that deposit back, bro.
Yeah. So, you know, I got my room back, got everything back, and everything just kind of started molding back into form. You know, I had a little bit of money, you know, so I was able to pay the rent and all that. And I then started getting calls to host 106 in Park. So now I'm flying to New York to fill in for Bow Wow on 106, and that was just a fucking dream come true, because not only now is it like I used to watch 106, I used to be a PA for BET, now I'm hosting the show that I watched growing up on BET, you know.
Hey, started from the bottom.
Then we were there, because then they ended 106 in Park, as you know. So it's like I'm climbing, and then it's like, now this is going. Climbing, now this is going. And then I got the call for the Experiment. To be a writer on the show. Funny thing about that is I was supposed to be going to a Wild 'N Out audition. I was mad because I missed the audition because my management didn't tell me that they dropped the ball, forgot to tell me that I had an audition for Wild 'N Out. So all these comedians telling me, yo, Brody, they were calling your name at the audition, calling your name. And I've always said I would love to be on Wild 'N Out. You know, that's the show that like I do song parodies, so I do improv, so it's like the perfect like show for me. And I was really devastated because I'm like, fuck, like, you know, like I knew I was going to get it this time. I just knew it. I knew I had, like, I was so ready for it, you know. And when I didn't get that, when I found out that I missed it, I was pissed. So my management ended up finding me a writing position on the show, this new show for BET called The Experiment. So I was like, all right, cool. So I came in as a writer. And then a few weeks into being a writer, you know, the executive producers approached me, said they wanted me to be the host.
What?
Yeah. They said that I fit what they were trying to go for. You know, they liked my style. They liked my my resume. You know, what I had already done, and they wanted to bring the opportunity to me. So, you know, that's such as history.
That's definitely a blessing, man. You never know where things are going to lead you, man. You just stay working hard, and you know things will come out of it, man. Definitely. What do you have to say for that young comedian out there back in the DMV that's thinking about making that move and, you know, has aspirations to do something in entertainment, but he's like, I got to pay this rent?
If it's in your heart and you trust in God, it'll happen for you, you know? If it's not in your heart, if it's something that you want to treat as a hobby, it's not going to happen for you. If you don't trust in God, He's not going to make it happen for you, you know? Because God doesn't want to make anything easy for you, you know? He wants to make sure you're working for it. And if it's in your heart, you're going to make sure that you find that job, that you can find the flexibility, that you can make enough money to make rent, to live in LA, you know? You don't have to live, I mean, I'm blessed to be able to live here now, you know? This is a blessing, you know? But I lived with roommates in my first year, you know? My first year, I lived with 2 other roommates, and sometimes there was even a guy on the couch, like, literally the epitome of, like, struggling, you know what I mean? Nothing was handed to me at all, you know? I had to work for everything, so it makes me value everything that I've been able to achieve out here, you know? So for that young person in DC or wherever, you know, that's just thinking about making that move, absolutely do it. If it's in your heart, absolutely do it. The only thing you have to lose is a little bit of time, but you know what? You can waste your time in the town that you're in and never know what possibility, you know, what things could come about if you just try to pursue your dreams. It's so funny and so cliche to say you could be anything, you put your mind to it, you pursue your dreams, but it's so true, yo. If you just envision things and just believe and just have faith and pray and do the hard work that you have to do, I mean, you can learn anything on YouTube nowadays. That's the funny thing. There's something you don't know how to do. Like, if you don't know how to hold a mic, if you don't know how to film, if you don't know how to edit, you could teach yourself. I know how to do all these things. Like I've been behind the camera. I've been in front of the camera. I know how to edit. I know how to do it all, you know? And when I came to LA, I had this arsenal of things that I was able to do behind the scenes as well as in front of the camera. I'd come here with already a few years of about 4 years of comedy under my belt, and I'd written sketches. I've done sketches. I had radio. I did radio in DC. I had that under my belt. I had edited, shot, and I had all these things that I was able to, like, okay, let me get this gig. Oh, I can do this gig. Oh, I can do this. I can do this. You know. So I made myself very not expendable, but very like
Diverse.
yeah, very diverse and very versatile. Like people were able to use me for various things. Oh yeah, Brody knows how to shoot. $100 right there. You know what I mean? So you just find ways. You know, honestly, the Experiment is the first job that I've had in LA. Everything else has been like gigs. Like, oh, I picked up gigs. Oh, I picked up gigs. You know, and I've been able to maintain. I've been able to stay afloat. I mean, I have a little bit. Occasionally, it sucks when you have to make that call to ask for a little bit of money from your family. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, you don't want to do that. You want to really. I've had to do that. You know, it sucks because, you know, it's like they don't have the money to be doing that, and you don't want them to think that you're not working hard, you know? But it's just the reality of this world is like your hard work a lot of times goes unpaid and unnoticed. So you got to be willing to just keep grinding, keep striving, knowing that sometimes you might be putting so much work into it and it's going to be underappreciated. But know that there's a bigger picture and there's a greater value to the things that you're doing that are unrecognized at this moment.
Preach. That's what I'm talking about, man. Man, once again, let me say this. Where do we see Brandon Broady, or where does Brandon Broady see himself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, you're gonna see me in movies that I'm also executive producing.
Get it?
That I've written, and you're gonna see a sitcom on television.
Do it.
And you'll see the comedy tour. You know, the 1 hour specials.
Do
Hopefully I'll be on my second or third 1 hour special by then.
Definitely, man.
You
Tell
know?
the people where they can find you online, and next time you doing stand-up, man.
Yeah, you can find me online, www.brandon, Brandon, Broady, Broady.com. Also on all social media, it's at Brody the Joker, Broady the Joker, THE Joker. The next show I'll be performing on is the Tao Comedy Studio, May 6th. Make sure you're there if you're in LA. This is the show where you want to be.
Check them out.
Yeah.
Come check it out. Once again, one of the most hilarious young comedians coming up in the LA world and in the comic game. My man, Mr. Brandon Broady, host of BET's The Experiment. And you know where to find me, Ashford JT, on Instagram and Twitter. And check out my show, www.howtonu.com. And check out the fellowship that's had by HBCU's work on the television production. Definitely. Once again, this is your man, Ashford J. Thomas, the host of BHL's Stand Up, Sit Down with the hilarious Brandon Broady. Thank you once again, bro.
Yes, sir.
And I'll check you
I'm on
again.
my grind, son.
You better know it. Peace. It's a wrap.
Kevin Undergaro and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.